Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about spiritual awakening and enlightenment, which is what I've been doing all of these sessions. But I think it's good to be reminded of what these terms actually mean, and to be mindful of the fact that they're incredibly loaded words, and they come with a lot of baggage. So, if you're interested in spiritual awakening or enlightenment, it's possible just to drop those terms to describe it and just think about it in a very simple, straightforward way. And to always come back to this as well, if you ever get caught up in wondering what it is you should be doing if you're pursuing awakening. So, I've said this before, but all awakening is, or enlightenment, is a direct, personal realization or experience with no mediation, no middlemen, no beliefs required, no ideas, no guesswork. And it answers the question, who or what am I, and what is this? And it's that simple. So, it's a direct, personal experience, undoubtable, doesn't require any guesswork, doesn't require any beliefs, and it's knowing who and what you really are, and what this actually is. And it's that simple. It's often the case with the terms enlightenment or awakening, that we then have an idea of someone who has this realization, what they're supposed to be like. And then you have the concern, well, I should in some way live up to this caricature or this stereotype, or I should behave in this way. So, the common spiritual caricature of someone who's awakened appears to be someone who has no thoughts, no emotions, and no desires. So it's someone who's almost like the equivalent of some kind of spiritual zombie. So they're there appears to be a fascist political backlash in Europe happening. We appear to have broken the weather. Like this, we need to. Now, if it was for spiritual caricatures alone, I wouldn't be doing this. Like, I wouldn't have engaged with it. It's interesting that we have these spiritual caricatures in the first place, and on the surface it does appear as if most of spiritual culture and religion is a conspiracy to stop you engaging with your own personal realization in this lifetime, right now, with no middlemen, no beliefs required, the direct realization of who and what you actually are and what this is. So, it's often the case, those big questions, we get palmed off with guesswork, we get palmed off with someone who says, I swear, an angel gave me this book, I swear he gave me this book, and he just says, don't worry about it, you'll find out when you're dead. Can I have your trust fund? And it's true with the Asian religions as well. It takes 1 billion years to wake up, which is as good as saying, you'll find out when you're dead. So don't bother engaging with that now. Now, I don't think it's the case that there are actually, a group of people who get together. Let's stop everyone waking up by spreading all this nonsense. I think it just speaks to that part of ourselves that doesn't want to wake up, that doesn't want to engage with it. Because if you think about it, the notion of someone with no thoughts or emotions, or can't have a bad thought about things, or can't get an erection or whatever. Some descriptions of awakening include that inability to have an erection. Oh, and you should forget about it if you're a woman or if you're gay. That's just not. Anyway, the reason it seems as if we have these ideal images of what it means to be a spiritual person, because then it's impossible for you to live up to it. It's impossible for you to live up to it. So then it's easy just to say, well, that person in the past, or this special person, you know, maybe for them, but not for me. So, you know, I don't have to deal with that. If you know that it's a possibility, and that these other people, they're just human beings, and that it's a possibility, then it's, oh, maybe I could actually do something about this. And for some people, that's I think a scary and challenging thought. Okay, I want to tell you a little story. Just so you can keep this in mind, if you get tangled up with the notion of how you're supposed to behave if you want to wake up, if you have a spiritual teacher or someone that you idealize, or a spiritual hero, just to keep this in mind. If you're using that image as some form of judging your own behaviour and the behaviour of other people, because that often happens. So, a while ago, I had this spiritual realisation. So, this spiritual realisation, this is what all these saints and sages have had. It's the pinnacle spiritual experience, and some people might think I'm being egotistical or boasting about this, but it's okay because I know the truth, which I'm getting to. So, I've had this realisation. 3 days after, I'm driving with my wife, and we go past the supermarket, and I think it might be a good idea to get some dessert for after dinner. So, I go in the supermarket, I find the aisle with the cakes and the desserts and stuff, and I see this really big trifle. Strawberry, custard, trifle. You have trifles in the US?
Mm-hmm. No.
No? Do you know what a trifle is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I see this really big trifle and I think, that looks really nice. Maybe I'll get that. And it's a lot for two people, but I thought, you know. So I go to pick it up, and as I'm picking it up to have a closer inspection, it somehow turns upside down, slips out my fingers, the lid flies off, and it hits every shelf all the way down, hits the floor, explodes all up the insides of my legs. So that's happened, and there's a little crowd of people to watch. And I look round and I think, well, I need some assistance. But there isn't anyone around, so I waddled down another aisle, and there was a shopper assistant, and he was kneeling down, adjusting some biscuits or something. And I stood there and looked at him, and then he looked at me, he looked at my trousers, he looked at me, didn't say anything or move, so I stood there and I said, yeah, I've had an accident with a trifle. Spiritual realisation, the highest spiritual realisation, there's trifle everywhere. That's what I want you to remember. When you see these teachers sat on thrones, spouting this wisdom, when you hear these stories of the Buddha and Padmasambhava and Ramana Maharshi and whatever, just remember this. Visualise them. The inside of their legs covered with trifle. These people, they're no different from any of us. There's nothing special about anyone. It's your birthright to have this experience and to recognise who and what you are. We start with trifle, we end with trifle. But there's no getting away from that. So anyway, any questions?
Did you eat the trifle?
Off his trousers.
No. It was the last trifle as well, so I couldn't even get a replacement.
Yeah.